Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about another series of viral TikToks that unfortunately came to my attention. Now, there have been a lot of genre TikToks that have come to my attention. Now, by genre TikToks, I mean there have been TikToks that are specifically focused on parenting, which is very random because, like I said, I don't really use TikTok, so I don't know why the algorithm is pushing these, why they're going so viral. I guess because they're fucked up and toxic, a lot of them. Anyway, all of this is to say that I came across these TikToks. Now, I've talked about age gap relationships here and there on this channel, and as a general notion, I don't have an issue with them a priori. So, I don't have an issue with all age gap relationships. Some are fine. And as long as they're healthy, blah, blah, whatever, it's your business. That being said, when I see age gap relationships that have one partner being significantly older than the other, but not only being significantly older, but the other is also right on the cusp of being quote-unquote legal, I ask myself a few things, most of which don't have pleasant answers. So, in this particular case, there are comments online saying that they were following this woman who ended up getting with this man and having his child recently, and the people who followed her prior to going viral said that she got with him when she was 18. Don't know if this is true, I'm just telling you what I saw in the comments. That being said, there is video evidence of her that she posted that they got together when she was 19 and he was 41. Regardless, you'll see it in the TikTok. That's a significant age gap. When she's 19, in a lot of places, that is right when you're allowed to date someone, legally speaking, be with someone. So when she was 19, she was already with this man. So how was I introduced to this couple? This video.
So I just got back from the store, and my husband goes, "Did you enjoy your time? That was the other half to my Christmas gift." I'm like, "Where? What is it?"
I babysit for hours. I babysat for hours.
He says, "Freedom. You were gone for 2 hours and I babysat. Your
By
gift was
yourself.
freedom. Baby, I love you," and he kissed me.
I was home with the baby. The greatest gift of all for a mother. I love you. I love you too.
I can't fully express how weirded out I am by parents calling looking after their own children babysitting. And some of that is semantics, granted, because it's just word choice, right? And I mean, an English major saying it's just word choice, it's basically never just word choice, but giving the benefit of the doubt, babysitting could just be a way of saying I took care of our child for 2 hours. That being said, the other side of the coin is this is your own child. Like, when you decided to have a child, you signed up for basically a life of babysitting. So letting your wife go out for 2 hours, it's not like you're doing her a favor. Or, I mean, you shouldn't see it that way. And if you're seeing it that way, I go to one of the first questions I ask on this channel, since this channel is about not the good things in life, but everything that can go wrong. Why are you having children? If spending time with your child is babysitting, a job, why did you want to have a child? Unless you didn't want to have a child. And in that case, why are we even making content? There are a lot of questions. She went to do the shopping. I don't know what kind of shopping it is. I don't know if it's groceries, but counting 2 hours as free time when it seems like she's looking after their own child full time is like, it's disgusting to me. It screams, don't be a parent. And it's funny because people used to always ask me, like, when are you gonna have a kid, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to have kids. This is old news. It's crazy because this is the flip side of that. Like, you're always asking people, when are they gonna have kids, when are they gonna have kids? If they're not saying they're not gonna have kids, there are people like this who have no reason to have kids. And when I say people, I mean him. He should not be having children if looking after his child is a full-time job for him. If it feels like that after a couple hours, or even after a day, I mean, are you going to spend time with this thing you created? Are you? So a lot of people in the comments were understandably skeptical of this entire relationship, which also leads me to another point, which is going to sound potentially strange coming from someone who does this as a job. But people really need to learn boundaries with the internet, and granted, if you want to make family content, that is up to you to decide. I will say, I rarely see healthy families making family content. Maybe it's just the ones who go viral. I'm sure there are exceptions to that rule, but as a general notion, slamming a camera in your child's face, not a good idea. And here I'm referring more to family vloggers. In this particular case, I think both parties, both she and him, knew what they were opening themselves up to. They knew there would be judgment, and part of this relates back to another theory of mine, that part of this is attention farming and kind of content farming as well. Like, if you see a big reaction because your ages are so crazy and different, you might continue making that content to make the little money you can make off TikTok unless you get millions of views. Assuming that the majority of this is real, because there are some trolly TikToks on their TikTok, but a lot of it is very obvious and they're like laughing and being very extra. So assuming that these other TikToks are unironic and quote unquote genuine, a lot of people are concerned because they're like, this seems off. A lot of people in the comments were telling her to have her own life, basically to have her own money aside and to have a level of independence, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of concern. What I think is rather telling is that there's this TikTok that asks whether the parents came to the wedding, and there's a whole conversation about the approval / non-approval of her parents specifically. I believe it was her father and brother. So here's the TikTok.
Yes and no. My mom was at the wedding. My dad did not come, and one of my brothers did not come as well. But my husband's dad walked me down the aisle, and it was beautiful. And yeah, he's been nothing but a father figure to me.
Your mom tried to get you to cancel the wedding the day before it happened. And then she texted you the day after trying to figure out if you should call the police because you might be dead or kidnapped.
Yeah, and we will be going into more detail on our channel later on, so stay tuned.
Based on that TikTok, now, I don't want to assume that it's like the typical healthy, happy family, right? Like, the dynamics could be complicated, so the story could have more layers, you know? Like, not coming to someone's wedding isn't necessarily a reflection of the relationship between her husband and the family, though in this particular case, with the no context we're given, the only assumption I can make with the information I have is that he has something to do with it, because also in the TikTok, he mentions that the parents don't like him, or the father and brother don't like him. For me, that's a huge red flag, because granted, like I said, not everyone has a healthy family. Some family members won't like your partner for completely separate reasons. In this particular case, if that were my daughter with a man that much older, initially I would probably be like Charlie in Twilight. I would have a lot of questions about this man trying to date my 19-year-old daughter. Like, why are you 41 with a 19-year-old? I want to know. This is why I can't be a parent. I also have to wonder that, and I think that that's a huge red flag that two family members were like, no, we're not going to be part of this. I think it's rather sad for her because she's still losing something, and people in the comments were super nice to her, being like, you have us as family, you now have your husband, blah, blah, blah. But I can't help but wonder, like, is there a reason for that? Personally, I'm off-put by all of this, but it doesn't really matter what I think because it's not my relationship. But I do think it's interesting that these types of relationships, these types of people continue to put themselves out there, knowing full well the reaction. And maybe they want the reaction, but at a certain point, isn't that going to start hurting? Isn't it going to wear you out? Is it not going to be exhausting? Because there might be people out there like me who are critical, but that, you know, we can agree that I don't know your life. But there are people who are going to send you death threats, who are going to call the husband some names. There are a lot of people who are already throwing around the word grooming. Is that really what you want to do to have attention? Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.